Welcome back, guys. It's been a minute, but we're back with a new video, and today we have something exciting. We've been working on it for quite a while, and I'm going to walk you through the process of shooting on a 35mm camera like this one or this one. So this is more of a beginner's guide to the whole technical, not the whole technical process, but kind of the basics. Yeah, we tried to create it in a very digestible way. Let's just hop right into it.
If you don't own a 35mm camera yet, some good options where to find one are to ask family members, browse through your local flea market, have a search on eBay, or visit any online or offline camera shops. Of course, you can start out with a simple point and shoot, but if you want to become more familiar with the process, I would suggest a good beginner's SLR like the Canon i1. I paid around 200 euros for my Canon, which is, I think, a reasonable price, but you might even find a cheaper one. Once you have a camera, the next step is to choose a film stock. So you've probably heard of Kodak, Fuji, Ilford, which would basically be equivalent to the different filters people use on digital photos. And then decide if you want to shoot in color or black and white. Once you've picked a film stock, then you pick an ISO. ISO is a measure of how sensitive the film is to light. A low ISO requires more light to produce the same exposure level as a high ISO film. Also, the high ISO has more film grain. Generally, ISO 200 or 400 is great for daylight. Next step is to load the film into the camera. So first, lift the knob on the left and insert the roll. Press down the knob so the film won't fall out, and pull the film across the back of the camera and insert it into the small sliver in the wheel on the right. Make sure the film grips go through the holes in the film, and double check that it's winding through properly before you close the back. Once you've loaded the film, the next step is to let the camera know what ISO you chose by using a meter. We put in a Kodak Gold 200 film, so we're setting the meter to 200. And then you're all set to go. Here are some of the technical decisions to make while shooting. For example, what mode are you shooting in? Is it program, shutter priority, aperture priority, or manual? And for that, you need to understand the relationship between aperture and shutter speed. Shutter speed is the speed of the camera shutter. So how slow or fast the camera takes the photo and how long you want the light to come through the shutter. Half a second would be a slow shutter speed, and a 1/500th of a second would be a fast shutter speed. A fast shot gives you less light, but is easier to shoot handheld. The slower the shutter, the more light comes through, but you're also more likely to produce camera shake, so try not to go any lower than 1/60th of a second when you're not using a tripod. Aperture refers to the lens opening through which light passes and is measured in f-stop. It normally ranges from 1.2 to around 16. A low f-stop like 1.4 lets more light through the lens, while f16 lets less light in. Changing the f-stop not only affects how much light goes through the lens, but it also affects the depth of field of the image, which you can see here. So if you need more light, choose a low f-stop, which results in a shallow depth of field, and if you need less light, choose a high f-stop, which results in a wide depth of field, so a lot of the image is in focus. I prefer shooting either manually or in aperture priority mode, which is great for taking portraits, and it means that the camera uses its internal light meter to select a shutter speed, and all I have to do is choose an aperture. Once you've finished shooting the roll, you can remove it by pressing the button on the bottom of the camera to release the film, then using the winding mechanism on the top of the camera to pull the film back into the cartridge. Winding it back by turning clockwise until you stop feeling resistance and hear a clicking sound. Now you get to remove the film and drop it off at your local camera shop for development.
So I hope you found this helpful. You'll learn a lot by just doing it yourself. If you have any further questions, just ask them in the comments below and we'll be happy to answer them. Keep film alive, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!